So, ich habe nochmal kurz unterbrochen, weil es irgendwie komische technische Probleme mit dem Stream gab, aber egal, dann mach ich jetzt mal weiter. Myrmidons. Free the Soul is a powerful new religious order dedicated to establishing a new world order, and the Myrmidons are their elite frontline soldiers in that secret war. The general public knows nothing about the Myrmidons, but their actions have put them on watch lists of intelligence communities across the globe. Rumors say that all Myrmidons have the same face, suggesting that they may all be clones of a single person. No one knows where this rumor comes from exactly, but I can tell you that it's a very credible source. Wie ich vorhin schon mal meinte, einige Sachen hier sind natürlich bei weitem keine Erklärung der Story, weil man einige Texte ja schon recht früh findet. Deswegen wird hier natürlich auch nicht erwähnt, dass, wie heißt er nochmal, Dio Teil der Myrmidons ist. Weiter mit Brother. The founder of Free the Soul, although he prefers not to be referred to as such. As a child, he had a younger brother whom he was very fond of. Unfortunately, the worst happened and the younger brother was murdered. Rage and despair filled Brother, and for 9 days and 9 nights he was consumed by his own misery. On the morning of the 10th day, however, he had a revelation. Mankind was rife with base desires and needed to be purified so that a new world could come into being. God had spoken to Brother and given him a mission. Brother dedicated his life to realizing that mission, and at the age of 26 he established Free the Soul of Y. He claims that Y is a symbol for miracles. Okay. Wirklich. Sein Bruder war Left, ne? Davon waren dann Dio und so weiter alle Klone. Bracelet 3. Here's some information that isn't revealed in the game. The bracelet, put on the left wrists of the 9 participants in the aRdW game, has an important feature that's never mentioned. As soon as it's put on, a needle on the underside activates and inserts itself in the wearer. That doesn't necessarily mean that it injects a drug, only that it activates and pierces the skin. Maybe there is something on the needle, or maybe there isn't. All that's certain is that when someone puts on the bracelet, they get poked. Huh. Vielleicht ist es eine Anspielung darauf, dass alle Radical 6 haben. Es kann ja sein, dass man das hier irgendwo an einem Punkt findet, wo man langsam die Vermutung anstellen kann, dass alle Radical 6 haben. Na, wer weiß. AB Game refers to the aRdW game. It's fair to assume that AB is short for aRdW, but it also represents the 2 choices. Each player is given A and B. A is the choice to ally, and B is the choice to betray. When using the voting machine in the AB room, each player must choose to either ally or betray before the time limit is up. A round of the... Ja gut, das müssen wir nicht erklären. Penalty. Einige Sachen hier sind halt nur Sachen, die im Spiel schon erklärt wurden, die ich deswegen nicht nochmal lesen muss. Ja, das auch. Voting machine. A machine used by the participants of the AB game to register their votes. It uses a touch panel and is not to be mistaken for an ATM. Hazmat suit. The manual found in the PEC contains the following text in reference to these suits. The air in this facility is kept at a very high pressure relative to the outside environment. This is to prevent air contaminated by the virus from entering. All persons wishing to exit the facility must proceed through the pressure exchange chamber. In order to prevent the spread of the virus and to maintain a sterile environment, all persons entering the PEC must wear a specialized hazmat suit. Anyone not wearing a suit will not be allowed to enter the PEC and will be shot. Nein, das habe ich mir nur ausgedacht. Scotch. A type of whiskey made in Scotland. Its unique aroma comes from the peat? Was ist denn peat? Das kenne ich nicht. Used in its manufacture. Scotch is 10 years his favorite drink. He often claims a little scotch should scratch this itch after returning from work, which annoys Quark. Alkoholiker. Root beer float, a well-known drink. Ja, total well-known. Ich habe das noch nie... Kennt ihr das? Kennt das jemand? Ist das irgendwie so eine japanische Sache oder so eine amerikanische vielleicht? Ich habe das vor diesem Spiel noch nie gesehen, gehört oder sonst irgendwie gekannt. Aber okay, a well-known drink, allegedly, made by putting a scoop of vanilla ice cream in some root beer. Mit ein wenig Scotch die halbe Flasche meint, ja genau. Also known as a black cow, Quark is taken to saying root beer floats my boat, which warms Tim Yoshi's heart and kind of annoys me, but that's just me. Floor A and Floor B. The facility has 2 stories. The top floor is referred to as Floor A and the bottom floor is called Floor B. The A and B supposedly stand for above and below. There's a rumor that the floors were actually named after a particular Swedish pop rock group from the 70s, but everyone involved in this project has insisted that it's a violent hurtful. Okay. Das. Researchers Journal 1. The body's infected with Radical 6. Ah ja, gut. Das ist nur das, was man im Spiel auch findet. Das ist wahrscheinlich nochmal da, damit man es nachlesen kann. Those infected by races eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. Yep. Bodies of dead still are piled up. Entire area reeks, sense of decay. Ja. Das ist der Text, den Fei im Spiel übersetzt. Aus dem lateinischen Journal. Jumpy doll. It sounds like someone named a doll Jumpy, but why? The secret of Quark's hat. Ah ja, da bin ich ja jetzt mal gespannt. The purpose of Quark's hat is to look incredibly stupid. The end. Right? Don't you think his hat looks kind of weird? Yes, I do. There's that huge band that just wraps around his head. Is he hiding a pair of Ferengi ears? Or maybe he's just a young Lobot? Well, this is just between you and me, but he's got missiles in there. The sides of the hat are hiding those pods, like you see on helicopters or SAM sites, except these missiles are tiny, and when he gets in trouble, both sides of the hat open up, and they just fly out all at once like psh. Just kidding. Actually, he just keeps snacks in there. Okay. aRdW, an antiviral medication made to counteract Radical 6. More specifically, it's an antibody with a natural resistance to the virus. It was found and extracted from an individual in 2038 and then replicated using the IG replicator. An aRdW injection is the only known way to fight off a Radical 6 infection. Treatment pod. An amazing machine that augments an individual's natural ability to heal, strengthens their immune system, accelerates their metabolism, and can cure many otherwise incurable diseases. In addition, it can Das sollte wahrscheinlich create sein. In addition, it can create personalized medicines, perform gene therapy, and even repair the effects of radiation damage. What an incredible machine! It's not that incredible if it can't cure Radical 6, you say? Yes, well, I guess you've got a point, but don't worry, it also has a function called cold sleep. Cold sleep uses CAS freezing to freeze the entire body without damaging it. That way, even if the disease you have can't be cured, you can be frozen until a cure is found. Cold sleep. There are generally 2 types of cold sleep. The first type involves lowering your internal body temperature. This reduces your basal metabolic rate and induces a state similar to hibernation. In other words, your body is still actively functioning, just very slowly. The other sort of cold sleep is the one in this game. This involves freezing your body to essentially lock it in whatever state it was in. Until recently, this was impossible, because the expansion and crystallization that took place during the freezing process irrevocably damaged human tissue. In the world where this game takes place, however, CAS technology has overcome this hurdle and made cryonics a reality. The resuscitation rate is nearly 100%. In fact, you'd be much more likely to die in a plane crash, which means that freezing yourself to visit the future is safer than flying from Tokyo to Milan. Okay. CAS. CAS stands for Cells Alive System. It allows organic tissue to be safely and non-destructively frozen. In this game, CAS is used to put people in cold sleep. It supercools the subject with a magnetic field and causes them to freeze almost instantly, preventing crystallization. In real life, the problem comes when you try to thaw something out, which also must be done instantly. In this game, however, the technological magic of the treatment pod makes returning from cold sleep possible. The past 2 nonary games. November 2018, 16 children were reported missing. In actuality, 18 children were taken. The 2 were never reported. Das waren dann Akane und Aoi. The person in charge was someone we will refer to as H. The purpose of the game was to conduct experiments on morphic resonance, with the children as test subjects. I won't go into the specifics here, but the short version is that this was the first nonary game. November 1st, 2027, a total of 9 people participated in this session. Ah, okay, also 9 Person, 9 Doors, 9 Dingsabumster spielt 2027. Macht ja, muss ja, wenn dieses Spiel 2028 spielt. A total of 9 people participated in this session. They were abducted just as the children had been, but this time H, Hongo, was not in charge of the game. Clover was a participant in both games, and now she finds herself playing the nonary game yet again. Oh, I feel so sorry for her, but do I really? Esper resonance. In the context of this game, Espers are people with the ability to access the morphogenetic field. An Esper can increase the strength of their signal by being in close proximity to other Espers, assuming they are the strongest. The strongest signal will absorb any weak ones nearby and use them to amplify its own strength, sort of like waves. The biggest wave adds the amplitude of smaller waves to its own and covers them up. Nonary veterans. Oh, the following 9 people were participants in the nonary game that Clover claims to have been part of. Ace, Snake, Real Name, Light. Ich glaube, das haben wir im ersten Spiel nie erfahren, oder? Clover's older brother, Real Name Light. Weiß ich gar nicht. Santa, arrogant and cooperative, young man. Clover, still Clover, just younger and with a jacket. Will. Junpei, hero of 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. June, Junpei's childhood friend. Real name Akane Kurashiki 7, a music detective. Lotus, attractive programmer, has 2 daughters. Kubota, skittish man, gets blown up. Ja, gut, das schön, dass das mit erwähnt wird. Neostigmine, a type of carbamate compound which acts as a reversible acetylcholinesterase inhibitor, exciting the parasympathetic nerve. This allows it to counteract the effects of the muscle relaxant tubercularine. It can be delivered with an injection gun, like the one you see here. Wie spricht man das aus? Acetylcholinesterase? Wahrscheinlich? I know. Ice 9 is a special form of water with a melting point of 36 degrees Celsius. In other words, it freezes at room temperature. The idea of Ice 9 was originally put forth by the American science fiction author Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut? Ich weiß gar nicht, wie man den im Englischen ausspricht. Aber ja, es ist tatsächlich, kann man auch nachschauen. His version of Ice 9 has a melting point of 45.8 degrees Celsius. There is a rumor that says all the water in Alice's body is actually Ice 9. Who knows whether it's true or not, but if it is, then she has to always keep her body temperature above 36 degrees Celsius. H. This refers to Gentaro Hongo. He was one of the characters who appeared in 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. He was the person who supervised the kidnapping of the children who participated in the nonary game in 2018. He is the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals and a devoted follower of Free the Soul. Alice is made of bitchiness and makeup and not a lot of clothes. Morphogenetic Field Theory, gut, muss ich ja nicht nochmal, das kennen wir schon. Immunoglobulin, auch von Dio genannt Immunoglobulin, is an important part of the body's defense against viruses, bacteria and other invaders. It identifies and neutralizes certain threats. The AG replicator found in the lab gets its name from immunoglobulin. Integer factorization. Oh god. Factorization is the process of reducing a number to a series of numbers that, when multiplied together, give the original number. When taken to its logical conclusion, this will yield a list of prime numbers. For the purpose of factorization, 1 is not considered a prime. Example of prime factorization: 210 is 2 times 3 times 5 times 7. Okay. 2, 3, 5, 7, and 107 can only be divided by themselves or 1, which makes them primes. Ah, cool. 2 fuego errors. A relatively well-known Latin phrase. It might look like it's talking about a pair of sexy toaster waffles. What? 2 fuego. Huh? But it actually means something like what you are, I was, what I am, you will be. sometimes used as an epitaph. The implication is that the person in question was once alive, like the reader, but that the reader will someday also be dead. A little ominous, I guess. SOIS. The Special Office of Internal Security, or SOIS, ist eine Elite Intelligence Organization under the jurisdiction of the Department of Defense. Das ist ja, wo Alice dazugehört und Clover dann auch. They investigate potentially disruptive or dangerous elements, such as domestic or foreign terrorists, radical political splinter groups, and religious organizations with extreme agendas that could pose a threat to the state of the citizenry. Ja, ich denke, da fällt Free the Soul ganz gut darunter. Nur aus Could ist dann ja leider auch Would und Did und so geworden. Their stated purpose is to maintain peace, but their charter authorizes them to arrest, detain, or even kill. Scary. Prisoner's Dilemma. Apple and Banana. Ja, das ist das Fire erklärt. Antimatter bomb. This bomb uses the energy generated by the collision of particles and antiparticles. So how does this work? Fire explains. Achso, ja, das wurde sie erklärt, wie wo sie das mit, when they collide, they create something like a baby, except the baby is sort of pure energy. In other words, an antimatter bomb makes an imploding baby. Does that make sense? Detonator. This is the device that will detonate an antimatter bomb. Technically, it's called a remote triggering detonation signal device, but that takes a really long time to type out, so we'll just use detonator. This particular device has two modes of operation, immediate and delay. Pressing the switch when you're less than a meter away from the bomb will trigger the immediate mode, and the bomb will detonate immediately. If you're more than a meter away from the bomb, however, pressing the switch will activate the delay mode, and the bomb will explode 30 minutes later. Teach me, Fi. Cybernetic arm. A device originally created to weaponize genetically engineered psychic Was? Was? Just kidding. It's actually an arm augmented for online sex chat. Not really. In truth, it's the arm from a mysterious libido-powered robot. I'm just messing with you. A cybernetic arm is actually a mechanical limb that you can control with your mind. Really. It has titanium alloy for bones, and those are covered with ABT, or artificial biological tissue. The ABT even has artificial nerves, so you can feel pain through it just like a real arm. It has veins that connect to the rest of your body, so if you inject medicine into a cybernetic arm, it will flow to the rest of your body. Luna's necklace. The necklace Luna is never seen without has a cage containing a blue bird hanging from it. If you twist the key on the bottom, it plays music. Someone special gave it to her as a gift, and she says it reminds her of the following lesson. Search for happiness wherever you can, because the search itself is what will make you happy. 3 laws of robotics were created by science fiction author Isaac Asimov and play a large part in his robot series. They are as follows. Das muss ich jetzt nicht nochmal vorlesen, das wurde ja schon im Spiel zu Genüge erwähnt. Later on, Asimov also developed another preceding rule known as the Zeroth Law, which first appeared in his story Robots and Empire. The Zeroth Law of Robotics. 0. A robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. Clearly, the Zeroth Law has priority over the first 3, so the first law would have the unwritten addendum, except where this would conflict with the Zeroth Law. Whether or not 016, also Luna, was aware of this law is unclear, but in any event, Luna did act in accordance with it. Sie meinte ja mal, dass sie eigentlich den ersten Punkt gebrochen hat. Mit einigen ihrer Aktionen hat sie eigentlich, wenn man es so auslegen will, den ersten Punkt nicht eingehalten. Aber wenn der 0. Punkt den ersten nochmal überschreibt, und dann hätte sie ja doch wieder Gesetz der Regeln gehandelt, weil sie ja teilgenommen hat durch ihre Teilnahme an dem Lone Game. Letztlich zumindest in einer Timeline verhindert, dass Humanity to Harm kommt oder so. Interessant. Swimsuit. For some reason, Sigma, or perhaps the author, seems to be unnaturally obsessed with swimsuits. Why is that? Was he involved in a horrible swimsuit accident, now repressed, in his youth? Did he have a crush in high school on a girl on the swim team who put her Olympic aspirations ahead of any possible romance? Is he just a perv? The world may never know. Password input device. This device can be used in an emergency to deactivate the antimatter bombs hidden throughout the facility. It doesn't really have any official name. Sometimes it's called the designated computer terminal, but sometimes it's just the input device. The device has a small QWERTY keyboard beneath an LCD display. At the top is a large black cable which can be attached to the bomb you wish to deactivate. Entering the correct password on the keyboard will stop the detonation. Antimatter reactor. In a general sense, an antimatter reactor is a system that generates electricity or some other form of power from matter-antimatter reactions. This facility uses hydrogen and antihydrogen. The reactions power a turbine which generates energy and powers everything in the facility. It looks like a gigantic octopus, but it's definitely not edible, no matter how you cook it. DOSK, antihydrogen atom. A particular type of antimatter. Normal hydrogen atoms have one proton and one electron, but an antihydrogen atom has the opposite, one antiproton and one positron. In November 2010, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, issued a statement announcing that they had captured an antihydrogen atom. They claimed that they had gathered 38 of them, in fact, and managed to hold them in a special container for 0.2 seconds. Wow. Less than 6, ich meine, ich sag jetzt so sarkastisch wow, aber eigentlich ist es natürlich schon sehr krass. Less than 6 months later, in June 2011, they managed to capture several more antihydrogen atoms and contain them for more than 1000 seconds. Okay, das ist natürlich noch viel krasser. Ja, CERN steckt ja hinter so einigem, wenn man Steins Gate kennt. Although the creation and storage of antimatter is still a difficult obstacle, these results suggest that antimatter reactors could someday be a possibility. Interessant. TNT equivalent. TNT is often used as a reference point when discussing the power of explosive devices. Specifically, explosive power is usually described by tonnage. The amount of energy 1 ton of TNT produces is approximately 4,184 gigajoules. This means that an explosive device with an output of 1 megaton generates 4,184 petajoules. TNT stands for Trinity Trinidad and Tobago? Yes, Trinitoluene. That's it. What the fuck? Is one of the most common explosives, which is how it came to be a reference point. A kilogram of TNT has 4,184 megajoules of energy, but a kilogram of butter has 30 megajoules. Butter is some dangerous stuff. Isn't it? Ich frage mich, was hier im Japanischen steht. Wahrscheinlich auch irgend so ein Durcheinanderbringen der Silben. E equals mc squared. Einstein's famous equation. Put simply, it means that energy is equal to mass times the speed of light c squared. It describes how much energy you would get by annihilating matter with antimatter, a lot, but also carries the interesting implication that with enough energy, you could theoretically create matter. 33 terajoules. The amount of energy you would get by combining 350 milligram each of matter and antimatter. You can get this number using the equation E equals mc squared. Ah ja, und dann ist da das Gespräch aus dem Spiel. Floor B Graffiti. Nichts Neues. aRdW. Das ist doch das, was man in diesem Raum hier findet. Oh, ist das immer noch so nostalgisch, sich hier umzuschauen, nicht wahr? Komm, gucken wir mal eben. Wo ist das aRdW? Ich will es finden. Wo bist du? aRdW? Ist hier drüben? Da. Da sind sie. Ach ja, das waren sie. aRdW. The hourglass displayed in the background is actually a 4-second timer. It doesn't have much practical use except maybe for really impatient people. If you were at a restaurant waiting for your food to come out, for instance, "Hey, how long are you going to make me wait? I've already flipped this hourglass 100 times." Technically, 100 times would only be 400 seconds, which is 6 minutes and 40 seconds, but saying 100 times is much more dramatic and therefore much more likely to get a desirable response from the waitstaff. Okay, Gentle Points. Dio spricht mal von, niemand hätte so viele Gentle Points wie er. These are a measure of how much of a gentleman you are. Somewhere deep in the United Kingdom is an organization that tracks all gentlemen, determining their caliber based off an ancient and Byzantine collection of rules and guidelines. Every year during the spring, a representative of this organization conducts a cursory investigation of each member's behavior, or at least appears to, and then awards gentle points based on what they saw. The following formula is used. Old ladies escorted across the street times top hats owned times puzzles solved times money given to gentleman tracking organization equals total gentle point. What the actual fuck? Knife. Ah ja, cool. Floor B hallway locks. Several of the hallways on floor B use special locks indicated on the map by arrows. On the far side of each arrow is a lever. Pulling these levers will unlock the locks. Once this had been done, you can explore the entire area at your leisure. Okay. Principle of causality. The law of cause and effect, specifically that a cause must precede every effect. At the quantum level, however, things aren't quite as mutable. The principle of quantum superposition holds that any physical system, such as an electron, exists at least partially in all of its theoretical states or configurations, but when measured gives a result corresponding to only one of them. Immer noch so verrückt. A classic example of this is the double-slit experiment, where light appears to behave as both a wave and a particle. Darüber habe ich auch mal was gelesen. Ich habe mir irgendwann mal ein Buch über Quantenphysik, Einführung geholt, einfach weil ich das mal interessant fand zu lesen. Da wurde das auch erwähnt. One of the interesting implications of this is that, guckt einfach mal nach, was das war. In a sense, you are influencing the past. By observing a system, you are defining the cause of an effect you witness and in a way altering the past. Normally, I would commend here that the quantum level is where shit gets real, but given the nature of this phenomenon, it seems like it would be more accurate to say that the quantum level is where shit gets unreal. Okay. Knox's 10 Commandments. Wer sich nicht mehr erinnert. Luna erwähnt das. Nee, war es Luna? Ich glaube, Sigma erwähnt das, glaube ich. Als er in dieser Timeline sagt, er weiß, dass Dio die alte Frau umgebracht hat, weil er es in einer anderen Timeline gesehen hat, meinte Luna, ob das nicht irgendwie unfair ist und gegen die Regeln. Und er sagt dann, fang jetzt nicht an zu sagen, ich hätte Nox's 10 Commandments gebrochen oder so. Und erklärt dann ja, dass es nicht unfair ist, weil beides auf demselben Punkt in der Vergangenheit passiert. Egal, Nox's 10 Commandments kommen von Ronald Knox. Das war ein Mystery Writer from the UK. Und der hat diese 10 Regeln mal aufgestellt. Halt für sich und alle, die denen folgen wollten, nehme ich an. Published the following as his rules for writing a mystery novel. First rule, the criminal must be mentioned early on. Second rule, all supernatural or preternatural agencies are ruled out. Third rule, no more than one secret room or passage. Fourth rule, no hitherto undiscovered poisons may be used, nor any appliance which will need a long scientific explanation. Fifth rule, no one with extrasensory perceptions or similar powers can appear. Sixth rule, no accident must ever help the detective, nor must he ever have an unaccountable intuition which proves to be right. Stimmt, das finde ich tatsächlich auch mal ein bisschen langweilig, wenn man so ein Mystery Novel liest und dann kommt irgendwie der Detective am Schluss wegen irgendeiner Intuition darauf, die zufällig richtig ist. Das ist doof. Seventh rule, the detective must not commit the crime. Ja, manchmal sind Stories ganz cool, wo das der Fall ist, aber es ist mittlerweile auch ein bisschen ausgelutscht. Aber wie gesagt, das war ja auch nur von ihm für sich, dass er die so einhält. Und vielleicht andere, die wollen. 8th rule, the detective must declare any clues he may discover. 9th rule, the stupid friend of the detective, the Watson, must conceal nothing from the reader. 10th rule, twin brothers and doubles generally must not appear unannounced. Interessant. Sun, moon, star key. 3 different types of card keys generally found in the safes in each room and used to open the AB gate. Without them, you can't open the AB gate to play the AB gate, which means you can't gain BP. In other words, getting one of these cards is the first step in your escape. Naja, das ist nicht besonders wichtig. Slingshot. An elementary device that uses rubber to launch a small projectile, frequently used by adolescent ne'er-do-wells. Can be used as a necklace, but this is not recommended. What the fuck? Test site mystery. Ah yeah, the site in question was for a simulated manned mission to Mars held in the Nevada desert. On New Year's Eve 2028, the audio logs from the simulation contains a woman's voice, assumed to be one of the test's subjects, saying the following: 6 of us are dead. Counting myself, there are only 3 left. I guess you could say I killed them. No, that's not quite right. Not just them. Not just these 6. All of them. All 6 billion. Most evidence seems to suggest that this was the beginning of the Radical 6 outbreak and that the Nevada facility was the epicenter of the pandemic. Ja, davon handelt halt der dritte Teil, der leider ein bisschen doof ist. Termite. A general term used to refer to the insects in the epifamily of the Termitoidae. Spricht man wahrscheinlich aus. Of the cockroach order Platodea. That's right. Even though they're sometimes called white ants, termites aren't even in the same family as ants. They're in the cockroach family instead. Also, king crabs are in the hermit crab order and the remora is in the Perciformes order. Ja gut, das müssen wir dann nicht wissen. Schon wieder mehr von denen. Happiness, Trouble, Tragedy, Trust. Okay, toll. Conjunction. A term used in positional astronomy. Put simply, it means that 2 celestial bodies appear near one another in the sky. When used in the context of our solar system, it often refers to a position where a given celestial body is aligned with the Sun. For example, when Mars is on the opposite side of the Sun from Earth, it is considered to be in conjunction with Earth. Mercury and Venus, which orbit closer to the Sun than the Earth does, have 2 types of conjunction. When they are hidden on the other side of the Sun, this is referred to as superior conjunction. When they are lined up on the near side of the Sun, this is called inferior conjunction. Man, hier lernt man ja noch richtig was. Tenyoji's picture. This is the photograph that Tenyoji was holding. The subject is a girl named Akane Kurashiki. Akane was one of the people who appeared in this game's sister title, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, as a childhood friend of Junpei, that title's main character. In 999, she was 21 years old. This picture was taken 9 years before then, when she was 12. Look at the left side of the picture. If you look closely, it almost looks like there's a man grinning in the background. Was? Oh. Ich sehe da nichts. Do you see him? Don't worry if it seems a little strange. A spirit medium has told us that the person in this picture is a guardian spirit who's looking after her. He must have shown up here because he had heard what sort of destiny she had in store and decided to see how she was doing. Ja, bestimmt. Okay, die letzten. Minkowski space. A way of describing reality that adds a 4th dimension of time to the 3 dimensions of space. It was described by German mathematician Hermann Minkowski, and therefore bears his name. It's also the name of a ski resort for miniature What? What? Das nehme ich einfach mal so hin. Lagomorph. So, nicht das Bild. Lagomorph, the scientific name for the order to which rabbits belong, and Zero the Third's actual name. Tenyoji and Alice. When they were split up at the red, blue and green chromatic doors, Tenyoji told Alice that there was something he had to tell her. That something was of course his identity, and that he already knew all about Alice and Ice 9, and not because he had heard about it from Clover. Tenyoji and Clover. After the second round of the AB game, after going through the purple and green doors, Clover as a solo was heard to say the following to Temuji, her opponent. What the heck did you mean with all that? It's not fair. If you're telling the truth, then So what had Temuji said to her? The same thing he had meant to say to Alice, of course. He told her who he was. That simple fact shook Clover's resolve and made her vote ally. Ja, ich erinnere mich. Da war dieser Moment, wo sie auf einmal Ally gewotet hat. It probably hadn't been his original intention to betray her, but after thinking about Quark's safety, he had probably felt he had no choice and picked betrayal. Stimmt, da hat er sie dann zu Ally überredet, indem er ihr gesagt hat, wer er ist. Und wollte eigentlich auch selber Ally wählen, aber dann ging da wieder... Ich glaube, dann wurden wieder Leichen entdeckt und so, und dann hat er doch Betray gewählt, um Quark rauszubringen. AB Project. A can stand for after and B for before, but they can also stand for anima and body. Everything that happened in this facility was part of the AB Project. The mystery of Phi. So, who was Phi? There are a few clues scattered throughout the story, but nothing conclusive. Perhaps the truth will be revealed at the Nevada test site. Deactivation passwords. Here's a little something more about the bomb deactivation passwords. Those passwords, they aren't just gibberish. There's something hidden in each one. I can only give you one hint. +1. Yep. +1 meint jeden Buchstaben, um einen weiterzudenken. Also, wenn der erste Buchstabe A ist, sollte man daraus B machen. Und so weiter. Ihr könnt euch die ja nochmal anschauen. Findet ihr bestimmt irgendwo im Walkthrough ganz einfach. Und mal jeden Buchstaben um einen weiterdrehen. Good luck. There's a lot more to the story, but I think we'll stop the secret archives here. Thank you for playing and we hope you enjoyed the game. Tja. Das war's dann auch schon, ne? Gut, was heißt auch schon? Das hat jetzt ganz schön lange gedauert, den ganzen Graf vorzulesen. Nochmal schönen kleinen Nostalgie-Flash, indem wir nochmal alles hier uns anschauen. Oh, wisst ihr noch das hier? Da habe ich mir die Zähne ausgebissen, ey. Bisschen in Erinnerung schwelgen. Oh, und diese Kacke. Oh. Das war irgendwie cool. Das war auch ganz nett. Oh, das war nicht so cool. Das war cool. Und das auch. Dio ist King. Nix da. Wo kam denn das nochmal her? Ach, das war... Ah ja. Das war in der Infirmary. Gut. Dann... Ach ja. Wird man richtig... Ja, gut. Dann halte ich jetzt auch nicht mal länger auf mit diesem Video. Beim nächsten Stream dann alles so wieder. Ja. Mach ich nicht. Und, oh, hier gibt es jetzt Hard Easy. Okay, interessant. Na gut, ich muss dann auch mal ins Bett. Also, das wäre das. Wenn ich demnächst auch noch mal Zeit finde, mache ich auch noch mal diese extra Episode, die es ja auch noch gibt. Wo ist sie denn eigentlich? Da. Another Time. Dazu muss ich aber halt sagen, wie gesagt, das ist nicht Kanon. Das sind einfach nur so ein paar Meta-Gedankenspiele. Aber das war's dann für heute, für diese Episode. Auf Wiedersehen. Gute Nacht.